I'm RMeglio, and I'm going to give my informative speech today. Here's my audience. So let's get to it. Today I want to talk to you about a very important historical figure that most of you probably have never heard of. Maybe a few of you. But I bet by the time I'm done, you're going to be Googling it. Anne Hutchinson was arguably the very first feminist in America. So let me tell you a little bit about her. She grew up in England. Her father was a Puritan minister. He was jailed twice, actually, for his criticisms of the Puritan church, but he was also heavily influenced by John Cotton, who was another Puritan minister. John Cotton left England for America in hopes of all the promised religious freedoms. Not long after, Anne and her family followed. When they got there, they ended up in a colony called Massachusetts Bay Colony, and it was led by John Winthrop and the elect. Now, the elect were people that were higher ups in the Puritan church who were supposedly given God-given gifts that made them special, and they were granted, no matter what, entrance to heaven upon their passing. They also believed that anybody else, and only in hopes of having any chance to enter heaven, had to do works for the church. Well, this went against what Anne was brought up to believe. And P.S., her father demanded that she learn to read so that she could read the Bible and interpret what it meant specifically to her. So she started having Bible studies in her home. At first, it was just a few women, but she taught of her ideas that women should be able to read the Bible and speak on the Bible just the same as their husbands, and that women should have religious freedoms, and that she didn't believe at all that they had to do church doings to get into heaven. She believed in free grace, which she preached about. Her Bible studies became bigger and bigger until finally there was all kinds of men coming too. Well, all of this upset the church because it was kind of undoing their grasp on the colony. And so they time and time again asked her to stop, and she wouldn't, kind of like a cease and desist. So finally she proclaimed that she was part of the elect, that she had been given a gift from God, that she could look upon a person and see if they were actually part of the elect. And she then looked upon all of them, told them that they weren't. Well, that was it. They drug her in for a trial, and they actually interrogated her for 3 days. This woman was super quick-witted, super intelligent, sharp as a tack. They couldn't pin her down on anything. So finally they said, well, how do you know for sure that you were given this gift by God? And she said, well, how did Abraham know not to kill his son? And the guy says, well, that's easy because God told him not to. He spoke directly to him. And she said, he spoke to me too. That's how I know. Well, that was the last straw. They were afraid they were going to lose their hold over everything, so they banished her. She left, and she took with her her family and 30 followers. She made her way down, and she actually helped negotiate the purchase of Boston Island with the Williams family. So she was the very first co-founder of a colony in America. And then after that, within a few weeks of her leaving and doing this, John Winthrop and the elect quickly had the startings of a college being built, the very first college in America. So she, you guessed it, she's the reason we have Harvard. They created Harvard to make sure that they could control what was being taught to people, and that more people, more dissidents, didn't come after her. Pretty amazing woman, if I say so myself. I mean, she laid the groundwork. She opened the gate. She started the whole thing. And it snowballed. I mean, would I be able to vote? Would I be able to read the Bible if my husband said no? If it wasn't for her? I don't know, but I don't want to know a world that didn't have Anne in it. And by the way, a really cool fact, she's considered one of the foremothers of the nation. She had 30 grandchildren, and there's 3 notable descendants of hers: Franklin Delano Roosevelt, George Bush, and George W. Bush. Quite an interesting woman all the way around, if I do say so myself. go Google her.